A lot of XRP related news coming out back to back to back to back. And we can expect more and more every day now for the next foreseeable future. Let's talk about this one. Does anybody actually know how to pronounce this? Is it XAO.DAO, XAO.DAO, or just XAO.DAO? So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, and it is a decentralized way to automate decision making on a blockchain. All of you obviously know what that is. But what it does is it tries to decentralize power. So a lot of the decision making that would normally be made by a foundation, say Ripple Labs or Ethereum Foundation, that has a lot of access to the token or has a lot of voting power, what have you, could be decentralized into, what the community. And now with everybody raging to get XRP on their platforms, I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well, because XRP DeFi is about to explode. It's about to absolutely explode. So everyone is scrambling to get XRP on their platform one way or the other. We've seen Uphold, we've seen Flare, we've seen Coinbase, Cardano, I'm going to talk about now, which is the latest one, and why that is especially exciting. So watch the video to the end. But this basically is not out yet. It's coming soon, as you can see. And it's a way to propose, vote, and activate change within the XRP Ledger community. So this is exciting, especially for those of you who believe in decentralization and the power of the community. So that's you, that's me, everyone that holds XRP that is interested in taking part in governance. Now, moving on to this story here. Hoskingson confirms XRP support in the Cardano ecosystem. What does this mean? And it goes on and talks about how Cardano founder Charles Hoskin confirmed that the network will fully integrate the XRP ecosystem. Not quite sure what that means. Hoskin highlighted the exploration of XRP-based DeFi solutions, including Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin. I think this is the most important aspect. Like I just said in the intro there, everybody can see that DeFi is about to absolutely go ballistic on the XRP platform. XRP has been left out of the whole DeFi thing this whole time. And being such a large cap coin, there's a lot of money in XRP at the moment, massive holders of XRP. And picture a world when the price of XRP goes into double digits, even triple digits. That XRP that you're holding is going to be worth a lot. And there's going to be a lot of DeFi stuff that you're going to be able to do with it, whether it's lending, yield, staking, collateral, providing liquidity, on-demand liquidity, participating in market-making pools. There's going to be a lot happening. And in the DeFi world, especially now with RLUSD, everyone is scrambling to get it on their platform. And Cardano is no exception. I particularly like Cardano, though, because, again, it's a very, very settled platform. It's a very sort of, academic, kind of boring platform. It reminds me, again, of something like, a platform like Chainlink. So I like it when, these kind of platforms start to work together. So the founder, Charles Hoskinson, has confirmed, like we said before, this step signals Cardano's renewed commitment to interoperability as it looks to boost network activity and engage with broader blockchain communities. To be honest with you, this is probably also, Hoskins and the people at Cardano kind of scrambling for clout and acceptance. I mean, to be honest with you, Cardano being a very, very solid blockchain, they kind of have sort of died off a little bit and people aren't as excited as they should be about Cardano, and this is a way also of making their own blockchain, Cardano, a little bit more relevant as, XRP becomes the superstar of the show. Or it is what it is, right? It talks about wallet functionality, particularly the Lace Wallet, which Cardano is building. This is quite exciting, actually, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The Lace Wallet is going to be targeted at Web3, right? The fast, easy way to explore Web3. A lot of you are familiar with what Web3 is. It's been around for a while now. The first mover is called Steemit, which then forked and became Hive. I've been on that platform since the beginning. And There are other sort of similar platforms that attempted the whole Web3 thing, but most of them have died off now. There was EOS, there was all sorts. But Hive is still thriving right now, and I post on there nearly every day, and it has bustling communities. But for whatever reason, it hasn't had the eyeballs that it should have had. It doesn't have the global adoption or the mass adoption, or I don't know. Like, people keep trying to reinvent Hive and keep coming out with these platforms that basically just emulate what Hive's been doing for nearly a decade now. And they become immediately popular and then they die away. But Hive is still there. So I've made a lot of videos about Hive, but I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go check Hive out. Very nice platform. Anyway, moving on. So this Lace wallet is going to help you explore, different types of implementations of Web3, whether it be NFTs, dApps, DeFi services, so you can discover and enjoy a new world of digital experiences, it claims here. I see it here. You can already add to Brave Browser. Again, Brave Browser was one of the early movers in Web3. I don't know if you guys remember BAT, Basic Attention Token, which was originally launched within the Brave Browser, such that if you were to use Brave Browser and switch the advertising on, for all of the ads that you saw, rather than a company like Google or Facebook or Meta, whatever it is they call themselves now, taking the proceeds from that and selling your data to third parties and then monetizing your attention, this basic attention token basically sent that power back to you. So you got rewarded in crypto. So these are some of the concepts of Web3, taking that background third party, Google, Meta, all those kind of guys that are scraping your data, taking that away and giving the power to you, and then giving you the say-so whether or not you want to sell your data. At least you will be the one getting the proceeds. So there are many, many issues that Web3 attempts to solve, and that's just one of them. And it's more than just a wallet, yada, yada, yada. It talks about, bright future. It's basically an ad for, gives you the roadmap, etc. Again, I'll leave a link to this in the description if you want to go have a look. But this Lace wallet is going to support XRP. And I believe the reason why everyone's doing this now is, how Coinbase is the oracle or the data layer for many tokens, especially if they need to access data on the blockchain, how they all just basically use Chainlink. Some of them use Band. I don't know how well Band is doing. That was the only alternative that Chainlink had before. I don't know if Band is still a thing. They've dropped off the radar a little bit, just like many other tokens. I believe that XRP, or the XRP ledger, is going to become the payments layer for all of these other blockchains. So you're going to get all of these blockchains that don't have their own inbuilt payment system, or their payment system isn't as efficient or fast. They're going to become interoperable somehow with the XRP ledger. They're going to build these side chains and these connections to the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger itself is working on a side chain, which is going to be able to represent XRP in the EVM world, right? The side chain will be compatible with Ethereum. So that's going to bring, again, a lot of liquidity from DeFi on the Ethereum platform, which is where most of it is, to the XRP ledger. So all of this stuff looks really, really exciting, and the stars are going to eventually align, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Talking about side chains, Cardano also is building a side chain called Midnight. Now, Midnight is a pretty interesting side chain. I think Cardano is working on something amazing here. This side chain also will integrate XRP ecosystem into it, so it will support the XRP token, and it will be interoperable with the XRP ledger. So that's fantastic. I read the light paper, also called the night paper, and I spotted something in it, and I don't know if you're aware of why exactly this sidechain is going to be absolutely massive, and what Cardano is working on, and what's going to bring Cardano back to the forefront of blockchains, right? And that's to do with privacy, right? Now, the way blockchains are at the moment, right, even though they're secure, the security of blockchain isn't around your privacy or anonymity. No, it's a public system, right? Most blockchains are public ledgers. You can have private blockchains that are just not available to anybody, but those are usually internal within companies. But, Bitcoin, XRP, ETH, these are all public ledgers. Once someone knows what your wallet is, they can absolutely monitor what you're doing. This is how the government is watching us, right? And even till now, even though, we have blockchains and stuff, the companies on the other side can still save some of your information, your metadata on non-blockchain platforms, right? So your information is still not private. It's secure because it's not mutable, right? So it's immutable. So that provides security, but it doesn't provide privacy. Neither does it provide anonymity. So this platform, this Midnight sidechain, is working on basically solving those problems, right? Now, if you look at the regular apps, how they work today, right? We are sending sensitive data, private data across the internet to anyone, basically. This is your user, this is a company, boom, right, by email, whatever, right over the public internet. Anyone can scrape that, intercept, whatever, third person attack, man in the middle attack, etc. And even the company can misuse your sensitive data and store it on platforms that are available to hackers and honeypot people, which is why we keep getting these data breaches, emails, millions of identity files stolen by hackers. It happened with Amazon, happened with Facebook, happened with all these companies, British Airways. A few years ago, it was a matter of when, not if, a company was going to be hacked and all our data was basically available in the black web or the dark web for sale. Not even in the dark web, it was available in the open web for sale, right? And then you have these public chained apps. With dApps, you are often still sending sensitive data and also adding public metadata that people can correlate to find out more about your activities. So they might be a little bit more secure, but some of the private data and metadata that has been added to these transactions can be correlated. Software can be used to match you with your identity, and they can still monitor you. This is pretty much how the government watches us when we're trading on the blockchain, right? So yes, it's a blockchain, you have the blocks, but then you have the metadata. Anyone can view the metadata. Blockchain data is also readable to all. They can then, run programs to basically match your metadata to your activity. Boom, they know who you are. And companies can still store that data on a non-blockchain platform or captures data outside the blockchain, again, available to the same hackers, or even they themselves can do unscrupulous stuff with your stuff. Now, with Midnight, the dApps are basically secure. So there's a private data proofing that happens prior to sending, and you, the user, can choose whether or not to have the shielded data on the public view or shielded data on the private view. And that way, you can, even the stuff that goes on the public view still has the metadata shielded, such that even though the activity is public for anyone to see, the metadata is shielded and private and kept secure. And delivering that to a company, the company also has no access to the metadata. They can't store your stuff. They can't scrape your stuff, and it remains absolutely secure. So it's kind of a more private implementation of blockchain that enables Web3 functionality that takes away that whole data scraping, data loss in the background. It's really exciting stuff. So what are some of the implementations of this? Now, I've talked about security, anonymity, privacy, etc., to do with advertising companies scraping your data, selling your stuff. But I think this is the most important aspect. Balloting. Ding, 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 ding. Now, Cardano is at the forefront of this. Forget about identity, digital identity, even though that is also related to balloting. Asset tokenization, again, very important. But again, you can forget about that because now they're competing with Hedera, with Stellar, with companies that are using Ondo Finance as a third party, with XRP Ledger and stuff. So again, they're just in the mix with everybody else. Well, balloting, Midnight can help create fraud-resistant preference reporting systems, e.g. surveilling, polling, voting for member-based organizations, which can prove eligibility and participation status without disclosing personal information or recording individual choice. Now, that is going to be absolutely massive in US elections. This is what I think Cardano is targeting. They're targeting that niche of blockchain voting in the way that it is private and immutable. So if this is implemented properly, election fraud becomes a thing of the past. no more election fraud, no more, suitcases of ballots, no more, what is it? Man, I'm telling you, I've been watching the US elections now for decades, and it's always, always fun to watch the amount of election fraud that goes on in the world's most quote unquote civilized country, right? The election ballot fraud is just astounding. So I think Cardano is looking to solve that problem, to enter that niche and become the leader in that niche. And I think when that time comes, everyone's suddenly going to see it, and the price of Cardano might respond to that. But I think that's actually quite interesting. I don't know if anybody else has talked about that, but I picked that up from the white paper, which is the boring part of the research. And here is more information for developers. It gets really, really geeky. But again, I'll leave a link to this documentation if you're interested in geeky stuff like this, so that you can have a read of it yourself. So back-to-back news for XRP, absolute good news. Cardano doing some really good work in the background quietly and about to unleash on us when the time comes. I think that the United States government is probably working with Cardano. Remember, Cardano, Hoskingson, one of the big guys that were in the little round table meetings that they've been having since Trump got into office. So I know Brad Garlinghouse has stolen the show. Elon Musk has stolen the show with the Department of Government Efficiency, etc. But Hoskins, he's been moving in silence. Not financial advice, your own research. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.